hopefully it doesn't.
Welcome to Big Brother Basics, where we break down the basics of Big Brother Canada 3, and we are live.
We're live. You got me good.
I got you. And joining me tonight, as always, is the most fantastic, most fabulous. He looks like a middle-aged Denzel Washington. Keith Guerrero, how are you doing tonight, Keith?
I'm doing fantastic. You can see it, right? It's in the ear. It's in the ear.
I was going to say, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm watching the Pelican Brief right now.
Oh, nice reference.
Yeah, I had to grab a Denzel Washington movie. It was the first one that came to my mind.
All right, let's talk about this eviction episode, shall we?
Sure, let's talk about the eviction episode. So, much like we predicted on Monday night, Cindy left unanimously. Sucks to see her leave again. What do you have to say about Cindy in general, like, and just her leaving the game? Do you think she did a good job? Do you think there's anything that she could have done differently? Let's give our eulogy for Cindy.
Okay. Cindy, I think, was fabulous because, you know, it would be such a disservice if somebody like Johnny came back and basically did like the rotating door or whatever. It had no effect on the game, probably wouldn't have made any moves. At least Cindy dropped a bomb. JP's out now, and I give a large credit to Cindy for that. Whereas I would have expected her to align with JP. She wasn't about that showman's life. I respected that about Cindy. And it was just, you know, she needed her side to win HOH, and that didn't happen for her. So it is what it is. And I'm glad that she was able to try to play for a second chance and do what she could potentially do. And it was very fun, very entertaining watching her play. And I'm glad that she came back in the house altogether.
I agree. You know, it's always great to see someone who really wants to play this game aggressively or not. And I think that's kind of what she did. As soon as she came back into this house, her number one objective was to tear this house apart. And I definitely think she had that impact. And it was, even though it was only for that one vote, that moment was a huge moment of the season. And I'm glad that she was able to make that happen. Unfortunately, I think she was just a little too aggressive in her gameplay, which I can understand to an extent. Being the returning player in the house, you kind of have to. You know, we talked about it a lot on Monday, and I still stand by the fact that I really think what went wrong for Cindy was that whole Willow lie. You know, it was just it was an overplay. It just, people found out she was lying really quickly. They saw right through it, and it really kind of hurt that trust that she could have had with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And then when she was on the block too, what I liked about Cindy was that she came in with a game plan. She really wanted to target Zach. But then she let like the personal baggage affect her game as well, because she transferred targets from Zach into Bobby. And those are two basically different sides of the house. So she's losing trust with multiple constituencies, people that she needs to work with. And like, she's basically doing rapid fire with so many people inside the house, making it seem like everybody else is expendable, when in reality, she's the one that's expendable. So I think she just misjudged that one a little bit, and shouldn't let comments like Bobby's stupid comments affect her in the game, and realize that, hey, you know what? Like, if I were to be evicted, I would be thinking, you know, Zach is a dangerous person. Why is no one going after Zach? But it's because of players like you, Cindy, that allow other players like Bobby to get in the way of what you need to do, which was to get rid of Zach. So I don't know. I still think that Cindy did a really good job upon her return, and I'm proud of her, and she has nothing to be ashamed of, and she's going to do a fantastic job handing over the HOH key to somebody who hopefully knows her pretty well. Godfrey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Let me, just quick question. I'm not sure if we touched on this at all in the previous episodes, but did Cindy make the right move of evicting Jordan?
Yeah, I would say so. The risk involved with it was like I think if it was a unanimous eviction, Cindy was at the low person on the totem pole. At least with the split house, she had that opportunity to work with one side of the house over the other, you know? She didn't know that Bruno and Bobby would just try to blend right back in, you know, and stay with the Diaper Alliance or whatever, try to get in good with them. So I thought it was a great call for Cindy to split the house, and that's exactly what she should have done upon her return, so that it could minimize her target. But she just didn't do a good job with Pilar's rapport, like lying to Pilar's face and getting caught. That was really it. Like, it was completely dumb.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, we'll move on from that. One of the first few conversations that I thought was interesting tonight was the conversation between Kevin and Zach, kind of just breaking down whether or not they made the right move to take out Cindy. What are you thinking in terms of Zach and Kevin's game? Do you think that they made the right decision by pushing for Cindy to leave this week?
I mean, Cindy's really not going to benefit their game. Like, Cindy wants both of them out. So, well, Cindy wants the entire house out. She's flawless in that light.
So
But
everybody's got to go.
everybody's got to go. But no, I think Zach and Kevin resisted temptation to get out of physical threat like Bobby and got rid of somebody like Cindy who didn't have their back. And I think that was a good call. And now they're basically back at square one where everybody that was in the house is still in the house. The comeback twist has no effect. And the only thing that's missing is JP. And now they get to continue on from that moment. So it's really exciting to see the house go on play because they were kind of on pause this past week with getting rid of Cindy for the second time. And we get to see if now they think is a good time for Bruno and Bobby to strike or vice versa.
I completely agree. I mean, what was the name on Cindy's lips the moment she came into the house? It was Zach's got to go, Zach's got to go, Zach's got to go. So I think this was the right move for Kevin and Zach, and I think they're really close on getting a handle. I think it's still at that point in the game where one wrong HOH could be the destruction of the Diaper Alliance, but I think they're moving slowly but surely into having a good hold on this game. Would you agree?
Zach and Kevin?
Yeah.
I would hesitate a little bit just because of their I think they're just a huge target. I think they're just really, really big targets inside the game. And sure, they could have a hold on the game, but I think as soon as they don't have an HOH, the house will flip.
I agree. That's true. I mean, I think you have to remind yourself that there are still 10 people left in this game. Mm-hmm. And all it takes is that one competition, and Zach and Kevin, those are really big targets right now. So I agree. I agree with what you said.
Yeah, 10 people left in the game and 2 couples, showmances, and actually a third couple now too, Sarah and Willow.
Yeah, that's which is what I want to talk about. Not necessarily Willow and Sarah just yet, but mainly just Sarah. I find it weird what this relationship between Sarah and Brittany and how she seems to be very like aggro. Oh, I ditched Brittany in a heartbeat. She's useless to me. I'd cut her like that. Do you think this is justified, or do you think Sarah's being a little bit too harsh on Brittany?
I mean, I'm not in the house, so I don't know the assets that everybody brings to the table. But if Brittany's only bringing her relationship with Sarah to the table, then that's troublesome for an ally. You need to both split up your division, both get in good with other people inside the house. And if Brittany's dead weight, then I completely understand Sarah willing to cut Brittany off, because that's only going to bring Sarah down if Sarah's trying to develop social ties, but she still has the association of sinking ship Brittany. So to me, it just seemed like a business type of DR. Sure, it's really cutthroat. It's hard to hear. It's something that we didn't really get editing wise because we assume that they're a pair and together. And to an extent they are. But I think Sarah understands that she needs somebody that has some pull. And Brittany's definitely not the person. She's already being put up as a pawn for the 3rd time in a row. The house doesn't respect Brittany as a game player. And so I think Sarah having that frustration, carrying around basically dead weight as an alliance member, she's seeking out other options. And I can't blame Sarah for that.
Yeah, I have to admit, the first scene that they showed us with Sarah and Brittany, my initial reaction was, okay, this just seems very out of left field. She's saying how much of a liability she is, and I'm like, well, why? Give us reasons. And then later on in the episode, she kind of explains her frustrations with Brittany, and I have to admit that she does bring some valid points. Although I think Brittany is a great ally for Sarah. At the end of the day, I think she's loyal. I think she would always have her back. You want to have someone on your side that is beneficial for your game. And although it's always great to have that number, this game is about knowledge. Knowledge is power, and the only thing that Brittany really contributes is she just lays low all the time, and she gets used as a pawn because of that. Whereas Willow, who's someone who is on the completely opposite side of Sarah, she has all this inside information. She wants to work with Sarah. She wants to help Sarah out and give all this power. I could totally see why Sarah would want to flip and kind of leave Brittany off to the side. I don't think she should abandon her. I think she should still keep her in the loop and everything. I can understand why she would want to give Willow the priority over someone like Brittany.
Brittany's always going to be a number for Sarah. That's not the issue. I think the issue is, holy shit, Brittany's the pawn of the season. If people perceive that Brittany's my closest ally and they want to target me, I'm going to end up on the block next to Brittany, and who are they going to send home?
Exactly.
They're going to send home Sarah.
Exactly.
So I think Sarah identifying that risk and then replacing it with somebody as close as Willow, who was on the opposite side of the house, who has all of the information basically from the Chop Shop week 1 through 3. I think that's a very smart play. I think it's a very smart call. Nobody really wants to work with Willow, so it seems like Sarah wants to scoop up the remnants of the Chop Shop, which is Willow, and it seems very reciprocated. Willow shared information because she can't keep anything secret, but she shared information from Bobby, and it makes sense to develop that trust. I'm really excited to see how this relationship grows.
Well, let's talk about Willow because, it's no secret that we haven't really been the biggest Willow fans, but I think I kind of have to give some credit to Willow. It's like she woke up. The other sleeping giant woke up, or maybe the sleeping normal-sized person woke up. And, she realized, I think she realizes where she is in the grand scheme of things. And, this King Zach, and he has his loyal queen and, the Kevin and Pilar relationship. I think Willow genuinely feels that she's being dragged along and is going to get cut. So I'm actually, really happy to see Willow seeking a relationship with someone that she feels like she can go a lot further with, and someone that she can ultimately trust and strategize and not necessarily get thrown under the rug from, or, just abandoned when no longer needed. So, we've had our things to say about Willow's gameplay, but
Well, you went. I had nothing to say about Willow. I'm just stating facts.
You had 10 minutes where you had some things to say about Willow, and so, but seriously, and I would say that Willow does have the potential to really change this game up. I think. She's gotten close a couple of times in competitions, and you really only need that one HOH to completely change the dynamics of the game, and I think that's someone who's willing to do that.
Yep. I think something that really opened my eyes to Willow's games was how she expressed her experience as a member of the Chop Shop, how it was more delegation, do this, as opposed to collaboration, and she wasn't really involved with the decision making or anything. Mm-hmm. So I think it was good for her to know that, she identifies that she wasn't really involved with that, and I'm glad that she's looking at Sarah as an option too. So I personally have no ill will towards Willow myself. So if Willow wants to decide to play the game starting week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that works for me. But I will just be commenting on what she accomplishes, and hopefully her relationship with Sarah will turn out something to be fruition into something great.
Do you agree? I feel like in this game, and you could kind of compare Willow to Godfrey in a way, in the fact that the first third of this game they were almost total non-factors, and now all of a sudden we're seeing them emerge as players. Do you think that's kind of the strategy to go for in this game? Because we see it a lot of times, you want to lay low, you want to try and the first third of this game I feel like should be about observation. And Godfrey, I do think he has a target on his back, but ever since he kind of landed himself on the block, I feel like we've seen someone who's trying to play the game, who's trying to make all these moves, and I think you could kind of say the same about Willow. Do you think that's a good strategy, or do you think it might not work out so well for those two players?
It's a popular superfan strategy to lay low and just make it through the first couple of weeks.
Unless
you're Jordan, because you'll get dragged by your hair, by your weave to the very end.
Yeah.
And then win a luck-based HOH. But shade, dang. I forgot what I was talking about.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted.
No, what were we talking about? I don't even know what we were talking about.
Strategy of overall just kind of not playing the game in a way in that first
Oh,
third.
yes,
And you
I
know,
remember now. I got
yeah.
you. Okay, so like it's okay for you to lay low, but it's not okay for you to remain an individual. You know, like you need to have at least a pair. For me, my personal like successful Big Brother strategy is to just pick one person and ride to the end with them. You know, just make them your confidant, trust them 100%, and just go to the wind. Like just put all your trust into one person and scheme your way into the final two. There's only going to be a final two anyway, so why put your trust in more than one person? But really, they didn't really put trust in anybody. They kind of allowed themselves to just have a good generalistic relationship with people rather than a specific meaningful relationship with a particular person. So that's unfortunate for both Godfrey and Willow, but they're kind of paying the repercussions of not really having that social dynamic within the first few weeks. But I think Willow has a better chance since, you know, the whole Sarah dynamic as opposed to Godfrey. I think Godfrey's options are really limited.
Yeah, plus I just think there's just a bigger target on Godfrey in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's good that he's playing the game now, and I do believe that he does have some people in his corner. It's just that he's now with Cindy out of the house, I believe he's probably public enemy number one for Zach's alliance. Whereas Willow, I don't think anyone's coming after Willow. I think she's being a little bit more UTR about the whole situation, and she has found that person now who seems to be receptive. You know, it seems like it's going both ways, this relationship with Sarah. So I don't know. I think what might have gone wrong for Godfrey, or you know, it's too early to say because you know they're still in the game, so it's not like they're out yet. But it's one thing to be laying low and not really do anything. It's another thing to be almost completely invisible, which I feel like might be what hurts Godfrey and Willow's game. Maybe not Willow, but I think more specifically Godfrey, because you don't want to be doing anything, but you want to be creating this rapport with everyone in the house. You know, you don't have to be making moves or making alliances, but you want to be socializing. You want to drop a few hints of gameplay every once in a while, but you don't want to be, you know, creating these plans and all these ideas. You just want to feel out everybody, let them know that, you know, you are a presence in this game, but, you know, you just want to create those bonds that are going to become useful in this stage of the game that we're in now for Big Brother. And I think that's really the way to do it. And I think that's kind of what is going to hurt Godfrey. You know, he almost waited just a little bit too late, or he didn't put that much effort into socializing. So now he's kind of just like, he's at the forefront of this anti-showmance alliance. And I don't know, I think he's on the wrong side of things. And it's one of those, he's in that situation where if you don't win those HOHs, you're out of here.
Mm-hmm. But that can be said about the Diaper Alliance as well.
You're totally right. I think it goes both ways because, you know, these are the people in the Diaper Alliance, specifically Kevin and Zach, who've been playing pretty aggressively since the beginning of the game, are kind of in the same situation as Godfrey. They're at the forefront of the Showmance Alliance, and, you know, the wrong person gets power, and all of a sudden you've got Kevin and Zach on the block.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about the triple eviction real quick?
Oh my gosh, how is that possible?
Can you go over that with me, because I was kind of unsure what is all going on. Did they explain anything about it?
No, they just said that we got a twist for you. It's never happened before. A triple eviction. 1, 2, 3 people going home next week. I really hope Canada can vote for one person to go home.
Yeah, I don't know how that's just a lot of people. And here's what I'm thinking might happen. They could do it because there was rumors that this was supposed to happen this week. There was some stuff online that, and I hope this isn't a spoiler for anyone, but it might be if anyone doesn't follow. But there was this thing online where whoever won this week's HOH would be putting up 3 people, and then everyone in the house would be voting to save one person. The 2 people that, or I guess the person that got the most votes to stay would be the one immune, and the other 2 people would be evicted. That was what's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of got like pushed under the rug. I'm not sure what all is about it. It was a little shady in my opinion. So it sounds like they might be pushing that to this week. So if it's a triple eviction, my assumption is 3 people will go on the block. The 2 people that get the least amount of votes to stay will leave. And then they might do a double eviction right after, which would be crazy and might make up for the fact that we have yet to see an HOH crowned on a Wednesday night, and I can't remember when.
Yeah.
I think it was Kevin. I think it was when Kevin won the instant eviction HOH. I think that was the last HOH we saw the end of.
Yeah. And it sucks because like competitions like these, we could totally see the results. Like it's not an endurance competition, you know, it's just a question and answer thing. So they just need to cut out some content and show us what's important in the household.
How do you feel about the potential, or I guess the reality of a triple eviction? Do you think that's good for the game? What was your immediate reaction to that news?
I'm interested to see how it plays out, but I do think it's a lot within a short time frame. 3 people leaving the house at one given time, like there's so much going on right now. Like I would just want to see what happens like week to week. Like, you know, like the game is in a fragile state right now and any side really could pull off ahead and it could be back and forth, back and forth. But if the triple eviction happens to be under the control of one side of the house, then they could just like sweep shop and then like run the rest of the game, you know, like I don't know. I just hope that however the triple eviction is formatted, that it is beneficial to both sides or something. I would just hate to see 3 of the Diaper Alliance people all get eliminated or 3 people outside of the Diaper Alliance to all get eliminated. I think that would just be like, those would have been weeks I would have loved to see, like people squirm, people like make new deals. I mean, it's a lot of people to be eliminated at one time. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I still have mixed feelings about it. What about yourself?
It's a little bit of an overkill, in my opinion. Kind of like you said, I want to see the strategy that goes between the HOH and eviction night. You know what I mean? Not just like, it's just, I feel like it oversimplifies the game in a way. By adding these complicated twists, you're oversimplifying the game where it's just like, oh, okay, I'm one person. I have the ability to completely destroy a side in the house, which no matter which way that coin lands, I don't find that very entertaining. I want to see the back and forth between sides. I want that power struggle. Don't give me one giant power, like one just bomb that someone could use to completely annihilate a side of the house. Like no matter which way you cut that, like whether it's the Diaper Alliance or the non-Showmance Alliance, I don't want to see that happen. I want to see these people pick each other apart one by one. You know, throw some double evictions. Those are great. Like 1 or 2 of those a season, I think is a great amount. But don't give an alliance that much power, because it's only going to promote this steamroll element of the game that we've seen in some of the US seasons recently. And I don't like that. I mean, I have an open mind, and of course we could be talking this time next week saying how crazy that twist was and how exciting it was, but my initial reaction is it's just a little too much for me.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
Let's talk about a player that had a little bit of screen time tonight, but what he did talk about, what he was saying, I thought was pretty interesting. It was kind of that conversation that Bruno has with Cindy, where he's just kind of like, you know, this game is all about patience. It's making the moves at the right time, and you know, he seemed to be a little frustrated with Cindy, saying that when she came in and blew up the chop shop, it really made him look like a schemer. On the flip side of that, we had Cindy basically saying, you know, that's fine, you can play that way, but I've been a target since day one. I don't have time to be patient. What did you think of that conversation and those two, I feel like, just very opposite forms of gameplay? You know, the aggressive gameplay and the passive gameplay, the patient one. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I love the conversation. And it's interesting because it really is hard to marry both agendas to where both parties are mutually happy and beneficial towards each other. And I think they both brought up great points and argued and it just is. And something else that I think Bruno should actually be thanking Cindy, because people already knew about the chop shop before Cindy blew it up. And so the fact that now it's in the open and Bruno knows it's in the open, now Bruno can approach it from that aspect rather than like Kevin, who has it under his cap, Sarah, who has it under her cap, like Brittany, who had it under her cap. Like, I don't know. I think that it was good. It was a good move for Bruno to know that the chop shop is exposed. I mean, I don't know. I think even though it would be hard for Bruno to know that, I think that it helped Bruno's game, coincidentally. But yeah, the actual conversation about the two different types of gameplay was very interesting. I did side more with Bruno than Cindy's at the end of it all, but I thought it was a very interesting conversation. I could definitely see the frustration in Bruno because he did see value in Cindy. But if he really did value in Cindy, then he would have thrown the HOH competition and just dragged her name throughout the mud, you know? Like, he would have had a conversation with Bobby at least to not eliminate Cindy round one. But I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with Bruno and Bobby is I genuinely believe that he was very aggravated with Bobby in doing that, but I think he just sees more stock in Bobby long term, so he kind of had to just do as much damage control as he could and just go with Bobby in that direction. Not saying that Bobby is a better player than Cindy. I just think that he believes that he'll get more out of the long run from being with Bobby and having him as that number. I think he just kind of saw Cindy as this, guns blazing player who is beneficial to a degree, but is kind of on borrowed time within the house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's interesting. I think that being patient is very important, and timing is everything in this game. And Bruno is a great representation of that. But I seem to remember Bruno's name being tossed around a little bit before Cindy came back into the house. Bruno was a player that people like Zach and Kevin were definitely looking at before Cindy all of a sudden came in. That's who Zach was originally going to backdoor. So in a way, I think Bruno definitely should be thanking Cindy because she definitely gave him an opportunity to shake the house up and eliminate Jordan. And then also bought him another week by, I guess, taking the target off of him. Now with her gone, I'm genuinely afraid that Bruno is going to sleep just a little bit too much, or just kind of wait just too long, and he's gonna be wishing that he made a stance or took a shot when he had the chance.
Yeah, and one of my biggest regrets if I were to ever be in the house would be waiting. Because, like, if the opportunity is knocking at your door, you better take it. You better take it. I mean, he didn't do that with the double veto. I mean, I don't blame him for not doing it this week. I think Cindy needs to go, but, like, he needs to do something. He needs to do something quick because...
And I think he will do something, and I think the Jordan vote was a very good example of that. Like, when the opportunity presented himself, he totally evaluated the situation and he made the move accordingly. I think Bruno's problem, not necessarily saying it's a problem, but I think it's what's going to be his downfall, is that he doesn't want to be the one to make that move.
Right.
He wants the opportunity to fall into someone else's lap and then him take advantage of it. And I think that's gonna. I think that might come back to bite him, because sometimes you really have to make the move yourself. I understand that they're only at 10. To make a big move like this right now, it could paint a big target on him, but sometimes you have to take that risk and make the move to try and further yourself in the game instead of just playing it safe and increasing the chances that you're most likely just going to fall in the middle.
Yeah.
Like placement wise, not like, dynamics.
Right. And yeah, like, especially with Canada and all these twists, you just never know if a triple eviction is around the corner.
Right. So the other side, like, that's what I want to talk about, because now we have like these two sides, and I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think if Sarah, Brittany, Bruno, I mean, Godfrey's eliminated, and maybe, Willow, I don't know about Bobby. If one of those four win, I think it's pretty obvious if three people are going on the block, probably should just do Kevin, Zach, and then maybe Pilar, maybe Ashley. But if you're part of the Diaper Alliance and one of them won HOH, what do you think would be the move for them?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Uh, I'm a little shocked. A little. Well, Godfrey. I think Godfrey would be the main target, at least for Zach. I don't know who Kevin's target would be. Maybe Sarah and Brittany for Kevin, and then for Ashley, I think her thing would be with Zach as well. So she would probably target Godfrey.
Honestly, I think Godfrey's going to be. My prediction is that Godfrey would be the target for all four of them. I think
Yeah.
Zach has such a good hold on that four-person alliance. I think Godfrey would definitely be one of the spots on the block. What's interesting is if they do decide to target Godfrey, would it be better for them to maybe throw up a Sarah and Brittany, knowing that one of them will stay? Or do you make the move and just put up Godfrey, Bobby, and Bruno, knowing that one of them would stay, but you're taking out two fierce competitors? What do you think?
I think it would be more beneficial to put up a pawn-like figure. Because I know that you said that there's like two sides of the house, but I actually see it as like three
I agree
sides.
with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that the main, like, I see it as like three ships at sea, and they all have a captain. We have Captain Zach over here with the diapers. We have Captain Bruno over here with Bobby, and then we have Captain Sarah with all the stragglers. And so if you put up somebody from both boats, from Bruno's boat and one from Sarah's boat, then they're going to be voting to keep their own, whereas the diaper can just massively vote out whoever they want to. So I think it gives the Diapers Alliance more control by putting up one person from each side.
Yeah, I agree with that. So you think the target would probably be like, because if they're looking for a pawn, I would assume that Brittany will probably land herself on the block, and then I think Godfrey is going to be up there. So who would you think would be that third person? Maybe Bobby?
Like for a backdoor or what? Because in case there's three nominees.
Yeah, because three people are on the block.
Oh shit. Maybe Willow, because she doesn't have the rapport with everyone. Like, she's very individual. If you nominate somebody like Willow, there will be little backlash, and I think that people are concerned about the backlash aspect of it. So Godfrey's the house target, Brittany's the pawn, Willow, there's little backlash involved.
I think if Kevin won, because I'm just remembering because Peely can't compete. Kevin won. I think if I'm Zach, I would maybe try and push just taking a shot at Bobby and Bruno. Whereas if Zach or Ashley won, I would probably just do like Godfrey, Brittany, and Sarah. Yeah, we'll see. It could be interesting. It's definitely, by putting up three people, you're definitely showing a lot of your cards. So it'd be interesting to see who wins it and what will happen. I think if the stragglers win, it'll be pretty straightforward. But if the Diaper Alliance win, I think they have a few options to go as far as what they want to do and how they want to, I guess, how they feel about their perception in the house and what they try to do to keep that. So I don't know. It could be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, diapers, you might as well just go. You're the four inside the house. Just go after those physical threats so that you can keep winning if you end up winning this one as well.
That's what I'm saying. I think, at this point, they really should realize that, hey, I think if someone else wins a HOH, we're probably going to be targeted. So their mindset should just be, let's just go after the people that we think have a good chance of beating us and just go, all right, these are the people we're against. Let's go. Because I think they should be smart enough to realize that anyone that's like playing nice with them or sucking up to them is only doing it because they're in power. And the moment that they're not in power, they're going to be the ones on the chopping block. So they really, at this point, should just do what they think will keep them in the HOH room.
Exactly.
All right. So before we wrap this up, just quick question. Who would you say is in the best position in the game? Not necessarily the one who's most likely to win, but with three people going this week, who do you think has the best chance of still being here after next week's episode?
I'm going back to basics, the pawn girl. I'm going with Brittany. She's going to survive every single week. If she's in that pawn role, then that's a good role to be in. You're going to be on the block a lot, but you're going to survive a lot of times too. So I'm going with my girl Brittany. Everybody else is up for debate.
Yeah, I feel I don't know if I can give Brittany that spot in my case because it's like it's almost a guarantee if the Diaper Alliance wins that she's going on the block. Not necessarily she'll be the target, but if you're on the block and two people are going home, like that's dangerous. So I feel like I would have to say Pilar is probably
yes, I agree.
because if the Diaper Alliance wins, she's good, I think. And if any other side wins and they decide to go after the Diaper Alliance, I think no matter how it shakes up, even if she's on the block or not, I think she will be safe because she's either going to be sitting next to some sort of combination of Zach, Kevin, and Ashley. And even if it's like Pilar, Zach, and Ashley, I think they would just eliminate Ashley and Zach.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it might be smart for them to just split both of the showmans up. You know, take out Pilar and Zach, and then you have Kevin and Ashley who, you know, might still work together, but might just drift apart to different sides. I think that might be the smarter move.
That's actually a good point. Did you see their awkward hug inside when they were about to casting their votes? They were like, "We're by association."
Yeah, we're working together, but you know, we're not really on the same page. So
yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Okay, well, interesting. Well, it should be a pretty twisty week, to say the least.
Twist those twists.
Twist those twists. So you definitely want to follow the action this following week. You also want to make sure that you catch each episode of Big Brother Basics after every episode of Big Brother Canada. We're always live after the episode. You can always catch us tweeting about it. Make sure you follow us at Jacob Harple, at Most Humble, at Sarcastivities. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. But most importantly, stay basic.
Please.
Please. Do it for you. Not for us, for you. All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.